Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ria and thank you for watching Escaping Reality. So I just started on YouTube and I made a few videos recently about moving to Ireland and studying and living here. So I got a great response and I wanted to do a follow-up video on what it is like to live in Ireland in terms of cost in the first year of coming here. So in today's video, I'm trying to cover all the latest stats and information that I can find that a first year student needs to take into account when they're moving to Ireland. I will not talk about education fee or your college fee because that is subjective to each one of them, and I'm considering that has been paid in advance. So this video is mainly talking about all the essentials such as rent, transport, utilities, miscellaneous things like shopping, etc., and entertainment. So I hope this video is of value, and please do like, share and subscribe if you do like this video. And if you have more ideas on what you would like me to cover for different themes related to Ireland, do drop a comment below and I promise to come up with some video that is of value. So the number one concern for people who are moving to Ireland is finding an accommodation. And what makes it even more challenging is to find something that's in their budget. It should not burn a hole in your pocket, and at the end of the month you're left with nothing for your basic needs. So cost of living, I would say, in Ireland is quite high. A lot of people are coming here for education, for jobs, and that has resulted in a lot of crunch for people to find accommodations. People, when we are in our own city, in our own country, we have the benefit of living with our families to save on rent, but when you come here you obviously don't have that, and renting anything can be extremely expensive. So for students, there are a few options. They have the option to either get a on-campus accommodation, which is basically whatever accommodation your college provides. So if you're going to Trinity or UCD, you have that. Second would be either renting out a room in somebody else's apartment. So people usually have 1 room, 2 rooms available, so you can of course try to get that room. Thirdly, you can try and a bunch of people can get together and try to rent an accommodation together. So it can be with people and are comfortable with, and you can try and find and leasing a new apartment altogether. So in Ireland, if you are coming on a student budget, getting a place of your own is extremely expensive, and it can be quite difficult for a person to find a private apartment that's just for themselves. So you also have the option of private student accommodation. So these are not a part of your college, but they are basically built for students, and they are a bit on the pricier side, but they are fully furnished rooms and apartments, and you get to live with students. So that kind of is a nice starting point if you're coming to a new country and you want a bit of a social life. And these accommodations also include all bills, so you don't have to pay for anything additional, and they usually have a 6-month or a 1-year contract. And it's quite easy because you can you don't have to look after maintenance and stuff like that, and the accommodation does have all those dedicated services. They usually also come with a gym, games room, party area and stuff like that. So those are pretty nice as well. And I stayed in Point Campus in my first year, so that's also pretty central, and it was a bit pricey then, but I do think it's a very nice way to have a good social life while you are also studying. So talking about the cost of actual renting an apartment, in all honesty, it can be anywhere between 700 on a reasonable end if you're not sharing the room with anyone, up to 1100, 1200 if you want an ensuite. So ensuite means that the bathroom is attached. If it's not an ensuite and the bathroom is outdoor, on the outside of your room, in the hallway, and you are sharing it with someone, then the cost comes down a bit. And an ensuite basically means that you are not sharing the toilet with anyone and it's dedicated to you. So you can also opt for twin bedrooms. So this is usually for people who are maybe 2 friends who are coming with each other. They basically can find twin beds in an accommodation, and there the rent of the room is split between 2. So if the rent of the room is 1200, you each are paying only 600. Obviously you don't have the complete privacy that you may like, but this is also a good way to save money on rent if you don't have a job and you are a student and you don't mind sharing. So some of the good websites and groups that you can consider for finding and renting accommodations could be daft.ie, rent.ie, They usually have apartment listings. Then you can also look at Facebook groups, accommodations for Indians in Ireland, and different people, different kind of groups. But be very careful. These places also have a lot of scammers who kind of take advantage of people who are desperate to find an accommodation. And I think I've talked about this in one of my previous videos. So they basically put a deal that's too good to be true, and if you are feeling anxious about not having accommodation and you make a transaction, that money can go. So you basically need someone to go see the accommodation in person, check that you are not being scammed, that the person is a genuine person, not a realtor. Do not transfer any money until you have signed document or gone and seen the property in person. And these people, they make Facebook profiles that look just like you and me, and they like post on these groups, and when people come here they don't know, and they end up losing a lot of money because of the kind of scams that happen in rental accommodation. Coming down to your utilities, so your main utilities would be like electricity, gas, I would consider bills separate, but mainly these would be the main things. Wi-Fi, I think, is one of them. So if different accommodations have different, they basically can have a huge impact on how much you have to pay for them. So for example, the houses are rated according to their energy rating. So like the newer houses which are more modular have A or B, which is considered a high rating, and that has results in lower bills because the houses are more energy efficient. But if your house has a B or a C or a D rating, then your bills can go very, very high. So even if you turn on heating for a bit or use gas, the bills can go quite up. So usually on Daft and rent.ie, it is listed what's the energy rating of the house. In case you are going through a different channel such as a Facebook group, or like you are someone who's renting, you can ask these questions like, what's the average monthly bill on electricity? On the lower end, it can be like 30 to 50 euros a month, or it can go as high as 200 for 2 months. So depending on what kind of house you get, it can vary. But if you go to a student accommodation, which is in a college, or a private student accommodation, you don't have to worry about these things because they are taken care of in the upfront costs that you paid already to the accommodation. So usually electricity and gas, they can be coming from the same energy provider and they come together. So the cost can vary, and I will attach like the latest costs here once in this video, so that you can have a look. There are many energy providers here, Energia, SSE, and there are a few websites that you can see to like compare different energy ratings. But this is going to be a very important thing in case you want to save a lot of money. Talking about Wi-Fi, it is usually split between all members of the house. So say your monthly plan is 40 euros or 60 euros and there are 4 people living in the house, so it will be equally divided between all the members of the house. So I don't think that is too much. Now to talk about mobile bills, so you can go for a cheaper plan which can be like 10 euros, 11 euros a month, and you can go a bit higher also. Sometimes they also have some memberships with them, like a Spotify or a Prime Video. So depending on your need and how much data consumption and how much phone calls, text messaging, data you need, you basically can choose a plan. I prefer 48.3, like these are good ones. But if you want to go with a more established plan, then you have Vodafone also. Air is also one of them that is here. So you can try to find the best plan, and you can ask around how much people pay and if they have any issues with their existing plans. The next big thing is groceries, like how much you spend on groceries each month. So it can vary. So it depends on your diet, what you are buying. So if you eat more meat, or you eat a lot of meat products, or you prefer like higher brands, then like higher end brands, then obviously it can go up. But I think 30 to 35 euros should be good enough for a student if you are not splurging on things. So this does not include you buying alcohol, which can, obviously be an additional cost. This is like bare minimum groceries like milk, bread, eggs, vegetables, chicken, if you eat, few things here and there. So 30 to 35 euros a week is a good amount. And if you can go under, that's better. You also have different grocery stores that have different price points here. So for example, Dunn's and Super Value are considered more on the higher end. Like their products are usually not as cheap. Then we have Tesco, that's kind of in the middle. They have great deals. Next would be, of course, transportation on the list. So if you are coming as a student, you can get the student leap card. So leap card is basically your card that you use to get on public transport. So it is applicable on the Lewis, which is the tram, the Dart, which is like the train that runs from north to south, and then Dublin buses. So the Lewis, you don't have to get a ticket, you just have to load the card, and you have to keep loading it once the money is exhausted. And if you're a student, you need to get your student documents and then apply for the student leap card. And that is 50% cheaper than a normal regular person's leap card. So it's mainly to help save money. So you will, I think, get it for a year, or I think a year's validity, and then you can renew it if you're still a student. So if you're an undergraduate student, you can keep renewing it till it expires. So yeah, so I think you can expect basically around like 30 to 50 euros depending on usage, based on how much you are using the bus. The leap card also has like a 1 hour window. So say I take the bus till a certain point and then I get the Lewis. So if I've been tapping my card and within the same hour I get onto another public transport and tap it there, then I'm not charged. So it's, I think, a 90-minute window, 1.5 hours, I think. And then after that, it will charge again. So usually if you're, say, living at one place and you're going to college through 2 public transports, then you have to just pay like once, like it's charged once, but you have to like tap it on each public transport within that 90-minute window. So yeah, depending on usage, if you're going to college more, then it may be 15 euros a week. But if you're not going as much, then it can be well under 10 euros a week. So yeah, around 40 euros, I think, should be a good limit, 40 to 50 euros, depending on personal usage. Also, when you are in your first year here, you may have a lot of expenses that you might not normally do in your, later years. You might be buying new clothes that fit the weather and the environment. You might be, buying furniture, or might be buying, bedding, duvet, quilt, pillows. So I would keep a separate budget for that at the start of the, when you come here in the beginning. And I would try to get all those costs out of the way. I know it will be a bit more, but once you get those costs out of the way, you can basically, not have to worry about it. So you can start seeing like popular websites in Ireland, look at like Duns or different kind of things like IKEA, and you can start making a list of the prices of all the products that you may need, which you are not buying from India. Then if you are, of course, living with people, and say you and your friends rent an apartment, you can split the cost. Also, something as small as getting a bin for the house, you can like split the cost. So having a good idea of how much it costs here, and if you can get something within your luggage allowance from India, then you can do that if it's cheaper there. A few other costs that can also come up is obviously going out. So if you are moving to a new country, you don't want to be not going out with your friends or not have a good time. So it depends on what you're doing. So, something as small as a coffee can be like 3.50 euros. And if you get something to eat, it's 7 euros. So be mindful if you can have your coffee at home, because, these 6-7 euros you don't even realize can make it really challenging by the end of the month. So these are some costs. If you're going for drinks, a pint is 6 euros, a glass of wine is around 8 euros. So you may need to budget. Food and drinks, I would say also like 20 euros on the lower end. If you're going out, if you're going to a proper restaurant, a fancier one, then you can obviously expect it to go up based on what you're eating and drinking. So yeah, your social life can, have impact on it. So I would suggest like having a monthly budget of how much you want to spend on socializing beyond like your basic necessities once they're done, so as to, also have a good time when you are, a student here in Ireland. So I think a tip that I have for most people is also to start saving like maybe 50 euros each month towards any emergencies that may, come up out of nowhere, a dentist visit, buying medication, anything of that sort, not foreseen expenditure. So I think, yeah, saving a bit each month towards that is a good place to start, so that you are not, left without any money, say when you need that. So anything else that's extra, like traveling or buying something that was not was not a part of the budget, I have not included that in the cost of living. This video is mainly talking only about essentials, and I will try to drop a few links down below about like what kind of groups that work well, what kind of renting accommodation websites you can look at, any popular products that may be needed. So I hope you found this video of value. Please do like, share and subscribe, and drop comments if you it resonated with you, or if you have more questions about the cost of living in Ireland or in general. Until then, thank you so much and have a wonderful evening, as it's for me. Bye.